It's trust the wait and embrace the uncertainty. Everything will come at the perfect time. When nothing is certain, anything is possible. So trust the wait, embrace the uncertainty. Everything will come at the perfect time. When nothing is certain, anything is possible. So I'll post that in the Facebook group because it's on my phone. But anything that came to mind, you want to share before we go off to our intention.
I love that. Could you post that in the comments? Because I'm not on Facebook.
Yeah, I'll just text it to you.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think that's really good. I think there's so much in that.
Yeah, and I was thinking it's exactly what we were just talking about. Just sort of like that natural unfoldment, and where like there's so much opportunity there if you just let it happen instead of controlling it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And it's a constant reminder. Constant. Because I feel we want to take control.
Mm-hmm. I love the word possibility too. Like we started the week with faith, with listening for possibility. And I have decided that is my word for the week.
Yes. That is beautiful. Well, think about all the intentions that we will complete in this time and have at her. Enjoy your time, and we'll see you in 40 minutes. Okay.
Did you want to repeat the quote?
Oh, sure. Trust the wait and embrace the uncertainty. Everything will come at the perfect time. When nothing is certain, anything is possible.
Yeah, what that reminded me of. So this month in our community, we are focusing on manifestation and, the idea of spirit providing this or something better. And when you want something, not being so rigid that, about the form and content of what you're manifesting, but being open to, your intention or what your goal for that situation is, because it's possible that it could turn out better. And I just really embrace that and think of everything as an opportunity. So if something doesn't work out the way you planned, it's because something better is coming.
Yes, absolutely. I definitely believe that the main focus is trusting, and it will come when it's supposed to come, and the things that were supposed to be there will line up. And sometimes when we might have appointments or clients come in and it ends up not being a good fit, we're like, well, what the heck? Everything was laid out, right? We did all these things. We thought it was good, but we don't think about, oh, this could be a possibility in a different way. And remind ourselves of that is a constant thing, I feel. And when we come back through and something else does happen, and if we would have done the other thing, we wouldn't have had the time, because we would have been booked and all these other things, and it would have never came across our radar. And it was a better opportunity than all the other things before. So I can totally relate to that, and definitely feel it's a constant test.
Yeah, I remember how surprised I was the first time I heard the concept of making sure your clients are the right fit for you, and thinking, that like you have the power to decide who you want to work with. And if someone is looking to work with you and they're not the right fit for you, like honoring that leaves space for a client that is your ideal client. And that was like a game changer for me.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I feel like that specific client, when you know and you're so clear on who you want to work with and who your customer is, they come in flocks, right? Like they're there. And it shouldn't be so hard to find that one client that we think we're supposed to be seeing, and then we find out, oh no, they're not a good fit at all. Or maybe they're financially not able to support the program, so then they don't pay you for what you're worth, or they try to get a discount. And like, that's not your client either. It's like Cinnamon here. She thinks her client's outside right now, walking across the street. So, any other reflection? Nancy, did you have anything that you're adding to the chat? Okay. So I also feel that we have to remember it doesn't come instantly. Because if it did, if all of our thoughts came immediate, we could have some problems in the middle. So that there is somewhat of a delay, and we have to, that's part of the test and the trusting part. So making sure that we are extremely clear is, I think, a big portion of that.
Yeah, and I think there's also that component of learning. So you might think that something is what you want or someone is who you want to work with, and then you actually learn that that isn't the case. And the more awareness you have about that, the better you get at choosing who and what to work with and on.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Well, we have less than a minute. Any last reflections? This is helpful because I keep trying to figure things out, and I know it's always better when it just shows up. Yes, yes, absolutely. But how many times when we were younger did someone said, you will have to figure that out for yourself, or I don't know, you'll have to see how this pans out, or what do you think? How is this going to come together? Like they're sharing those things with us even when we were younger, because that's what they knew. So, yeah. Well, we are at the top of the hour. All right. So encourage one another and build each other up. So encourage one another and build each other up. So when I think about that is, I think of the opposite of what competition really means in a business. Everyone has their own way to share their product. Sometimes it's a little bit different. There's a different way of teaching it or having it available. And instead of competing, we should be encouraging and building each other up for success and showing that. So if you can think in your business and how many other people you know in your area, in your state, even within the nation, that do the same thing that you do, but do it just a flip different, Are you encouraging them, or are you trying to compete and grab their customers that they are attracting? Knowing what we talked about this last hour and many times before is we have to be clear on our own customer and who we're looking for. And that's true to us. And that's different for each of us. So how are you encouraging other people in your life, other people in business, and to build their success?
I love this because I feel like it's a core piece of who I am is to be able to encourage other people in what they're doing and in mostly who they are and then what they're doing, and how fun to be able to know that our audiences can overlap and that we are stronger together, that we are better together, that we are, we can bring out the best in each other rather than saying, okay, this is all mine. Like, that just made me think of, we're teaching Knox right now that things are ours, not mine. He just started he's like, mine, mine. And so in business, how can we encourage that, to know that business can be ours, that we bring out the best in each other. So that's an amazing, I love that statement, and to be talking about this in vision and building each other up. That's amazing.
Awesome. And Nancy shared encouraging uniqueness. Becky, I'm still keeping that to Troy. This isn't his house or my house. This is our family home. Yeah. Inspire in numbers. Yeah. Wonderful. Look at all those good things. Well, we will go and do our intentions and come back at 10 to the hour. So encourage one another and build each other up. So encouraging one another and building each other up. And then we also were talking about LinkedIn and the wording and making sure that automation is personalized. So anybody who wants to talk about or has a question about any of those things that we can start off, or has a reflection.
I think for like to bring ease to the vision of having automation and having it really sound like your voice. Does anyone have a structure or know of a structure to be able to say, okay, here's thank you, here's an email of knowing what you're going to receive and having it like full on just crystal clear, here's, so just knowing what people need. And I guess being able to meet people's needs through email in a personal way that makes them want to come back for more. So I think that that's the core of what we're getting to, is that in the open house invite process and where they choose what hours they're going to be attending, to be able to draw them in through the emails that they receive after they choose the hours. That's what we're working on right now.
Well, I think a lot of it is just showing that what the community is and welcoming them into the space. But then in general, sometimes people have a different response, because the one thing I wanted to make sure was it didn't look like it was automated. Like it was actually done at that moment.
Yes.
And, are there any words that you can generate that would show that it was going to cover a lot of bases and still have that personal touch, or respond for the wide variety of possibilities?
Yeah. That's good.
So one area that I was automating was Facebook. We were doing an ad for the kids campaign and gathering interest. And that was, I didn't want to look pushy, but I wanted to share with them. We want to connect, talk more about it because I'm screening for the customer. I'm screening, I want to know these things and make sure they qualify within what I want my customer to be. So I just don't want any willy-nilly coming in and being part of the mentorship. But then how do you move them out so you're not having them on your calendar? And essentially, it's not even what they were looking for. So for OP, I think we have it a little bit more streamlined because we're inviting them. They're already knowing something about it. So your automation is more of, this is going to be their first stuff as a community, as owners, besides when we as MCs invite them. So has anybody else done any automation in other areas of their business that worked and didn't work and they didn't like the process or looked at it as a customer's point of view?
Not necessarily the automation piece, but just sort of like the language piece. I know, a lot of times you can poll people or ask questions or like do a social post that's just like a, maybe a quote or maybe a question, like if you, like what's the number one thing on your to-do list or something, right? And then or the number one thing that you want to do that never makes your to-do list or something, right? And then when you you get people to answer, and then when you send out an email or that next post, you're like, hey, do you need more time for gardening, reading? Like you pull in those answers, so then people are like, oh my god, that sounds just like me. And it's like, because you've already polled the community, and now you're using their language. So that's something that like I'm working on, not necessarily in an automated way, but just in a understanding what people need kind of way.
Yeah, and that's a great in that example of working to them, and then those trigger words will be directly for them and they will respond that way. They'll be like, oh my God, what is the coincidence, right? Not even thinking that this is what I needed to do. And I shared that information with her already. Awesome. So Miss Nancy says, I think at automation. Oh my goodness. I like to connect from the heart, and every situation is so different. Automation seems so fake, yet I know it is very successful and important as you grow. Yeah, sabotagers all the way. Absolutely. So, well, thank you, Nancy, for closing us out there. And we are at the top of the hour, and I wish that your